Hi, Professor. This is Dylan Lozon, and I'm recording my CS420 final project demonstration, and I made a mini game gallery. So essentially, the concept is to, instead of making one central game, you have a collection of mini games that you can play from one game, right? So you would purchase the gallery and have access to all the mini games. Um, and for the sake of the scope of this class, I wanted to develop one mini game and make sure it was reasonably well polished and have something I was happy with. And then in the future, I think for practice, I'd like to try and add more. Um, so the first thing you notice is that rather than loading into a menu where you have buttons on a window or whatever, we have just an environment that loads, and that's an intentional choice because I like the idea of a UI being physical. So when I have an interactable object, rather than clicking a button to change scenes or to move to a minigame, right? Instead of having a menu of minigames you can select from, I like the idea of having a physical environment that is interactable. So when I highlight over things, I get an indication that they're interactable. In this case, I decided to outline them in orange. The second thing you'll notice is that my hands aren't hands. And obviously, it's easier to have little spheroids or ovals or whatever than an animated hand or controller. And I mean, that was part of my decision. This is much easier. But also, I like this because we're in a very cartoonish environment, and you'll see that more when I go into here. And animated real hands just kind of look out of place. They feel weird, so I like these because they're cartoony. They're not realistic. So as I was saying before, this is our hub world. As I add more mini games, there will be more people around advertising their game. And I think in the future, I'd like to have a dialogue system where you have speech bubbles that come up. So this guy will introduce you to all of this and tell you that this is a gallery and talk to you and whatever. And this guy will tell you, hey, I run a shooting gallery. But for right now, they're just 2D sprites that look at you when you move around, so that way they don't feel weird and out of place, but they're still just 2D sprites. So like I said before, this guy has a shooting gallery. There is score persistence. It's stored in a JSON file, so I've already played before and I've got scores. But I'll go in here and play anyway. And we load in, and like I was saying, we have this cartoony environment, and we have very physical UI. So instead of a menu, on the table there is a score readout, there is a gun that highlights in orange to indicate that I can interact with it, and there's a play button built onto the table, so I can click this at any time to play the game. When I do that, it changes to a timer, and these targets will start to stand. The logic for these is basically, it's all configurable, but right now, every, I think it's 0.75 to 2.5 seconds or something like that, one or two targets will stand up, and I have to shoot them down. If I fail to shoot them within 2 seconds, they turn red and then fall down, or in the case of the flying targets, if they go beneath the environment without me shooting them, they count as a miss, and it's reflected in my accuracy, which is not 100% because I have not hit 100% of the targets. So I'll skip ahead in the recording, but I'm going to play this through, and we'll see if I can get a high score. Okay, so I didn't manage to get a high score. I actually tied with it just now. I was close, but no luck. 65. So you'll just have to trust me with the high score thing, but it does work and it does track between games, and obviously you could play for yourself to see. The button here, we see it says again instead of just play, and the timer starts, and I could start over and keep trying if I want to, but right now it's not that important. I can click the timer to stop the game at any time, and I can click this sign to return to the hub world. So when I do that, I could teleport inside, and again we see the accuracy, or I mean the high score. I don't think it's been updated. It shouldn't have been, obviously, but maybe my accuracy was better. I'm not sure. But in any case, when I'm ready to leave, rather than just going back outside, if I hover over this, it's now an exit, and I can select it to leave at any time and relaunch the game from there. In any case, that's been my game. Thank you so much for watching and for listening, and I hope you enjoy your break.